2023 so far has been a season to forget for Mercedes. Its dismal performance around Suzuka at the latest has prompted the question, what is the W15 going to look like and perform next season? Team personnel and Hamilton himself shed some light about this, and now we have some leaked details on what the W15 might actually look like. Want to know what's happening back at Brackley with the development of the W15? Well, stick around to find out. The Japanese Grand Prix was a difficult weekend for Mercedes. Not only were they a second slower than the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, McLaren were about half a second faster than the Works Mercedes team. When taking a look at the telemetry data between the Mercedes and McLaren, the W14 lost more than 75% of its time on the first sector, where a lot of high-speed corners are present, back-to-back. Lewis Hamilton, after qualifying 7th at Suzuka, was questioned on what was wrong with his W14. The 7-time world champion explained, "The balance didn't feel great yesterday. We did some changes and good work overnight, and the car has felt generally really nice today. It has been nice to drive through P3, so I've been feeling much more confident. Then in qualifying, I was giving it everything, but that 7/10ths deficit we have in Sector 1, it's all rear-end downforce. Our car has loads of load on the front and not as much as we need on the rear. So we're a really long way down on that, and for me, it's 100% clear that's concept. And we have got to make sure we change that for next year, which hopefully we will. I gave it everything I could, I was happy with my laps, they were just not that quick compared to others." The lack of rear downforce is just one of the complaints the Mercedes drivers have made about the W14. From the season's start, the W14 has lacked in lots more areas, and some performance deficiencies are a little strange though. For instance, around the early parts of this season, the W14 was pretty strong on high-speed corners and was very slow on slow-speed traction corners. Best example of good high-speed performance was the Spanish Grand Prix, where both George Russell and Lewis Hamilton made their way to the podium. But accommodating recent technical upgrades, notably the new front wing specification of the W14, the Mercedes car has moved from one end of the spectrum to the other. Since the upgrades, the W14 has been very strong on slow-speed corners, and it lacking both the mechanical and aerodynamic stability to push hard on high-speed corners. The current W14 seems to be only a handful for the silver arrows, as it is more of an unpredictable car on different circuits with differing requirements. So, with the team doing certain tests with different parts and a new floor philosophy, the team is ready to introduce a new underfloor, accompanied with new floor edge specifications at the Circuit of the Americas. The floor upgrade will be very crucial for the silver arrows, as according to the intel we have, this new floor is intertwined with next year's brand new Mercedes car philosophy. This makes the floor upgrade more sense, as running on circuit will allow the team to extract some real-world data, which will be very useful when developing next year's W15 in the wind tunnel. There are 3 key things that Mercedes will undertake with its brand new W15 project. The first key point, if you haven't guessed it already, the silver arrows will be moving more towards the Red Bull aerodynamic direction. Many have talked about it, and the most common point regarding Mercedes' failure in 2022 and 2023 is the zero side pods concept. But the side pods is not actually the reason why Mercedes are having such lackluster 2 seasons. The main differentiators between a good Mercedes and bad Mercedes car are actually the front suspension, rear suspension, and the underfloor. But Mercedes seems to have already made some changes to its suspension design, so let's take a look at what need to change within those 3 key areas. During the Monaco upgrades, the silver arrows made changes to its front suspension design, introducing a little bit of anti-dive. For those who are not still clear of what anti-dive is the amount in degrees the front of a Formula 1 car dives under braking. The ground effect Formula 1 cars generate most of its downforce through its underfloor, and having a stable underfloor is what allows consistent downforce generation. What anti-dive does is limits the car's ability to dive under braking, hence allows the underfloor to remain in a much more constant position, translating into consistent downforce generation. There are drawbacks to this setup, as we can see on the Red Bull. Tire warm-up. The RB19 takes some time to warm up its tires, but that tire warm-up trade-off allows the Red Bull car to manage its tires better over a race stint. Another part of the suspension is the car's rear suspension, and Red Bull has anti-squat introduced to its rear suspension. The is near same as anti-dive, but works under acceleration and not under braking. The benefits of anti-squat are: first, better downforce generation. Second is better high-speed cornering performance, apparent from the RB19's performance. Third is the ability to lower the car to gain high efficiency numbers. Anti-squat is something that Mercedes has not introduced on its car yet, down to complications surrounding its gearbox design. The anti-squat characteristic is one of the big reasons for Red Bull's impressive high-speed cornering performance at Suzuka, and that explains why Mercedes were that far off pace on that first sector. High-speed cornering performance is key to a modern Formula One car's performance, as if the car is not good on high-speed corners, that says that the car is a slow machine. The Red Bull lacked that a lot in years 2017 and 2020, where Mercedes was dominating that area. But now the opposite is happening, and Mercedes therefore will implement these suspension changes onto its W15 to ensure that it's able to reap as much usable downforce as possible. The final major change the team will make on its W15 is the floor philosophy. We got a good look at the Mercedes and Red Bull floor philosophies, and it looked like both teams were on the end of a spectrum in terms of aerodynamic principles. The Venturi tunnels on the Red Bull floor were long and progressive, whereas the Venturi tunnels on the W14 are short and aggressive. As we move back, we see different intricate details such as the kicks, vertical skids, and the diffuser shaping on the Red Bull car. Those are details added to go with the Red Bull's aerodynamic philosophy. The Mercedes floor is different, with less complex detailing, which is designed to go with Mercedes' aero concept. Focus on the initial W14 was on having as much as exposed floor as it can, as Mercedes believed that the difference in pressures on the top of the floor and the bottom of the floor would allow the team to generate loads of downforce. Red Bull's approach was fully focused on the underside of the floor, as the Austrian team believed that the way to move forward is to harness the maximum from under the car, and worked on having less drag on the top bodywork. This does not mean the upper floor is less important. The upper and lower floor are both important equally, but Mercedes went too extreme with its initial concept. That is another change the team is making to the W15 next season. The major change the team will be making next season, confirmed 100%, is the chassis design, as the upper front side impact structure is really weird, and actually with the W14 now having actual side pods, the SIS is now just interfering with the airflow, affecting the car's aero performance. Moving towards Red Bull direction means stressing on the undercut, but at the present moment, with the side impact structure protruding, it looks like an overcut design is being used. This does not allow the undercut design to work on maximum gear, so this is a major change the team is making for next year's car, a new chassis structure. With these changes coming to the W15 next year, Mercedes could potentially have a strong car on their hands next season. But the team definitely should take a step back and look at how McLaren approached a design overhaul. Even Hamilton himself talked about this at the Japanese Grand Prix, as he went on to say. The evidence is there at McLaren, and we can't turn a blind eye to that. We've got to look at what they've done and go in that direction, he said. That is the direction, and I truly believe my team can do it. And to make sure everything is moving on the right path, Hamilton is paying a visit to the Brackley this week to check out how the W15 is performing in the wind tunnel, and to see if the team has made the changes that Hamilton has requested from his team. Hamilton also stressed the importance the next 6 months to his team, as he mentioned that it should be the best 6 months of development they ever had if they are to catch Red Bull next season. And with the changes we talked about 5 minutes ago coming to the W15, Red Bull inspired changes. The W15 could be a fast machine next season. It just won't be a Red Bull copy, but an evolution of the Red Bull aerodynamic philosophy. But what do you guys think? With the changes we talked in this video, do you think Mercedes can hit the ground running in 2024? Are the front and rear suspension changes, alongside the floor improvements, enough to improve Mercedes' fortunes for 2024? Very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula One season.